boys and girls, Mrs. Leaphart here. I'm back to read chapter 6 in our Gordon Corman the Hypnotist book. If you have not been following along, just go to YouTube, search for chapter books with Mrs. Leaphart, and you can find all the chapters posted and listed there. We are on to chapter 6. Our main character, his name is Jackson. He goes by Jax. And he has a gift, or is it a curse? We are still learning a little bit about it. So here is chapter 6. The letter arrived at school a week later. The Sienta Institute, Dr. Ellis Mako, founder and director. Dear Principal Ornstein, congratulations! We are pleased to inform you that one of your students, Jackson Opus, has been selected for a candidate for our New Horizons program. At Sienta, we look for the best and the brightest among young people. Jackson has demonstrated exceptional skill in the field of communications, and we look forward to developing his talents in a meaningful way. Our program will not interfere with the excellent education Jackson is presently receiving at your school. We would require his attendance each weekday after school, as well as every Saturday. We are delighted to be able to offer this exceptional opportunity to Jackson. We hope to begin working with him as soon as possible. Yours truly, Elias Mako, MD, PhD, and DD. Little letter written there. Doesn't really tell us much other than this founder sent a letter to Jackson's principal. Tommy handed the letter back, frowning. Since when do you go looking for extra work? Since never, Jack said fervently. I didn't apply for any special program. Until this showed up at Ornstein's office, I'd never heard of the Sienta Institute. Sounds like a bunch of smart people who act all superior because they know more than us, Tommy commented. Like, what is Sienta? What does it mean? I Googled it, Jax told him. Sienta was the Roman goddess who gave babies their first awareness. Tommy nodded wisely. Those Romans had all kinds of messed up gods. I think there was even a poop deity, but he probably never got to his own institute. How did these guys find out about you? Jackson shrugged. I'm good at communications. Yeah, right. I barely understand you half the time, and I'm your best friend. Tommy squinted up at the top of the page. Elias Mako. Who's that? Jack smiled. Dr. Elias Mako has devoted his life to New York City's education as an inspiration to every single one of us. What are you? His press agent? No, that's what Ornstein told my folks, Jackson explained. You should have seen them. They were practically on the ceiling. It's like the proof they've been searching for that I'm not nuts. He slammed his locker shut and slung his book bag over his shoulders. I say, see ya. But I can't guarantee anything. Now I'm busy 25 hours a day. Maybe if you're late, they'll kick you out, Tommy suggested hopefully. If I could get that lucky. The offices of the Sienta Institute were located in a 7-story brownstone on East 65th Street, close to Park Avenue. Winged griffins with angry faces glared down from the roof. There's like the little gargoyles. And pillars held up the overhang that covered the front entrance. The sign was small and discreet, as if the institute valued its privacy. Sienta, Elias Mako, founder. The institute occupied the top 3 floors. Jax took the paneled elevator up to reception on 5. The place seemed like a public building, less like a public building than a really luxurious home, at least one from the 1890s. There were, however, things in the 1890s that the 1890s never saw, like computers and flat screen TVs. I'm here to see Dr. Mako, Jax announced, holding out his letter. Jackson Opus, the receptionist greeted him warmly. We've been expecting you. Dr. Mako isn't in the office right now, but he's so excited that you'll be working with us. Thanks? Jack stammered. Exactly what kind of work are we going to be doing? The letter said communications, but that could mean a lot of things. Jackson, came a voice behind him. It's great to meet you. The woman he turned to face would have been the center of attention in a crowd of 1,000 people. She was tall, slim, and drop-dead supermodel gorgeous. Not just beautiful, but perfect. From the way her long blonde hair caressed her shoulders to the shadow of her eyelashes on her perfect cheek. Even her conservative business suit was tailored so that it hung on her without a single wrinkle. She held out a manicured hand. "I'm Maureen Samuels, assistant director here." As he shook it, he could smell her perfume. "Jax." She peered deeply into his eyes, and for an instant, Jax felt the beginning of one of his visions. Or maybe it was just the assistant director's magnetism. She really was a knockout. Whatever the reason, the sensation passed quickly. All she says was, "You're the real deal." "The real deal?" he repeated. She straightened her collar, which was like everything else about her, exactly right. "I'm sure you're anxious to get started and find out what we're all here about. Kira, can you show Jax to the testing room?" A girl about Jax's age stepped forward, startling him. He hadn't even noticed her standing there. So overpowering were the presence of the assistant directors. It was like trying to focus on a birthday candle next to the sun. "Hi," she said. "Follow me." Halfway down the long corridor, she turned to him with a look that was half amused, half disgusted. You may be the new building thing, but I see you have the same reaction to Miss Universe as the rest of the guys." Jax felt his cheeks burning. "What's the new thing?" She shrugged. "Don't let it go to your head. The latest is always the greatest around here. Dr. Mako may be a genius, but he honestly believes that every piece of raw talent is going to be the one." "The one what?" "You'll know soon enough," she promised. The walls of the long hallway were decorated with pictures of the many celebrities, sports heroes, and political figures who had visited Santa. All those famous faces seemed to orbit in an expressive, dark-eyed man with striking brows and a strong, jaw-like nose. "Is that Dr. Mako?" Jax asked. Kira nodded. "He's a great man. There are lots of weird things about Santa, but he's no poser. He's going to change the world." Jax frowned as they passed a half-open door. Inside, a lone man sat in a straight-backed chair, hugging his arms and shivering. Jax could actually hear his teeth chatter. "Is Dr. Mako changing the world by making it colder? What's up with that guy?" Kira laughed. "Oh, he's not cold. He just thinks he is." It was the first time Jax had ever seen her smile. It rearranged her whole face. It made it more open, more friendly. It didn't take long. She stepped back and closed the door, serious again. "Shh." She led him around a corner into a small windowless office. Santa's director smiled down from the surrounding walls, his arms around the two surviving beetles. "Dr. Mako definitely likes having his picture taken." She looked at him disapprovingly. "Dr. Elias Mako has devoted his life to New York City education and is an inspiration to every single one of us." Jax blinked. Ornstein had used the exact words to describe those words to describe him to Mom and Dad. Not only did this Mako guy have plenty of fans, but they were all on the same page when it came to explaining why he was so great. Kira rummaged in a drawer and produced a thick sheet of papers. The stack made a persuasive whomp when she slapped it down on the desk. "These are your tests." "The first day?" "Psychology tests, mostly. Everybody has to do them. There's no time limit, but you don't want to drag it out forever." Resigned, Jackson slipped into the seat and picked up his number 2 pencil and began filling in ovals. The questions were mostly pointless. Number 15. I wake up in the morning. Still tired and wishing I had more time to sleep. Number 87. Choose a statement that best describes your attitude towards food. I derive pleasure from the variety of foods that make up my meals. It's either multiple choice. I'm not reading all of the choices. Those are the ones Jackson picked. Maybe this test would show if a person was crazy or depressed or something, but it certainly wasn't going to help Dr. Mako change the world. A deep voice in the doorway announced, "So this is the golden boy." Jax looked over. A tall, muscular teenager was sizing him up and looking not so terribly blown away. Kira appeared behind the newcomer. "Leave him alone, Wilson. He's doing his test, same as the rest of us." Wilson entered the office. There was a swagger in his step, even though he was only moving a few feet. "This guy? What does he have to prove? He's going to save the franchise. He doesn't need tests." He peered down at the finished papers, examining them critically. Anyone can see he's special. With a single motion, he swept the entire stack to the floor. Kira was disgusted. "Real mature, Wilson." Jax leapt to his feet. "Obviously, you've got a problem with me, and that's on you, because I've never even met you, man." He stood toe-to-toe with the bully, glaring into his face. Suddenly, Wilson took a step back and then another. It was a good thing because Jax felt the beginning of another vision, this time close up, of his own enraged face. It faded quickly, and by the time he came back to himself, Kira was between him and Wilson. Really, you guys? She demanded. You're going to have a fist fight in the middle of Santa? Dr. Mako would be so proud. Just greeting the new talent, Wilson mumbled, and then turned on his heel and stormed off. Thanks, Jax said. It's great to be here. Lighten up, Kira advised wearily. He's just showing you that he was here first. There are about 10 others who are going to give you the same welcome. Jackson was in no mood to listen. I know I just arrived today. Nobody has to explain it to me. Kira stooped up to gather the papers. Wilson had knocked them from the desk. It was a peace offering of sorts, and Jax got down to help her. Look, she went on. High achievers are competitive people. Any newcomer is going to be seen as a threat at first. Jax was worried. How do you know I'm a high achiever? Dr. Mako knows. He chose you. From on the wall, Elias Mako peered down, his arms around Paul and Ringo. He certainly looked like a man who recognized a high achiever when he saw one. But a high achiever at what? How can I be good at something if I can't even figure out what I'm good at? Jax wondered. All right, we're on to chapter 7. I'm a pretty big reader, and it is hard to only read a chapter a day. But I also know that it'll be a long time to sit and listen to me read if I read more than one, because it takes a while to get them done. All right, boys and girls. If you've made it all the way through chapter 6 and you're still here, if you are a QPS student, please, please, please take care of any library books that you have out. We're working on a way to get them back to our schools, because technically we wouldn't have been checking out books to our K-5 kids after last week to start inventorying for the end of the year. So they are past due. Please take care of them so when we get them back, they are in the best condition. I myself have some of our library books here so I can read them to you guys, and I'm doing my very best to keep them up away from Finnegan, who's only 3 and thinks that he can do whatever he wants. So your job is to take care of our books, our Rooney books. Make sure that they are well taken care of so that when we are able to figure out a way to get them back to school, get you guys back to school, that the books will be there with you. Okay? Get outside when you can. Stay warm this week. It's kind of chilly. It's going to be gross. But the sun was shining this morning, so maybe it'll help you guys get out, do something. Be safe. Have fun. Miss you. Bye.